Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Dan.
And this is Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to preview monsters and the things that destroy them. This is a double pack. This game is by Joey Vigor, who also made Growl, which I absolutely love Growl. Anyways, 2 to 4 players, 10 to 15 minutes with teaching, right? I mean, we played like this 5 or 6 times.
Oh, yeah.
We played this a lot just today to try it out, right? And see what we think. It is a 21 card deck, 22 if you count the instructions, which are very clear. But there's basically 2 types of cards. There's tactical cards and there's monster cards. So the monster cards, depending on which pack you're playing, right? So there's the Deep, which is all these aquatic monsters, the Kraken, the Siren, Scylla, Leviathan, Nessie, right? Great Old One, Dagon. You know, that's Cthulhu, right? But anyways, and then you've got tactical cards. So tactical cards are they're basically going to help you at the end of the game with end game resolution stuff. Actually, it happens during the resolution phase. So they might cancel. Each card has the potential to like cancel out 2 other cards, or maybe it will just straight up cancel 1 monster, right? Like Poseidon's Trident. There's the Nautilus, which can give you an instant win if paired with Captain Nemo. Very on theme. But otherwise, if you don't have Nemo, this will double your card score. So you're gonna it's gonna play. It's pretty straightforward. You shuffle all the cards together. There's 4 cards laid out. These would be shuffled into, and then you're gonna take turns drafting a card. And if it's got an effect on it, you're gonna resolve that effect. It could be looking at your discard pile. It could be looking at somebody else's discard pile, taking somebody else's discard pile, exchanging cards, right, with other players and things like that. Once we've gone through the whole draw deck, again, there's only 21 cards, so it goes relatively quick, especially since 1 for each player is already out of the game to even start with. So it goes relatively quickly. Then you're going to, out of the cards that are left in your hand, you are going to pick 2 of them that you will then, you're going to hope to score at the end of the game, right? And everybody dramatically flips their highest card first, and then you flip your tactical card or your second card next. And then we go around in player order and resolve all the tactical cards, so you see who cancels out what. And then the highest score, right, after the dust clears, and the score is just the numbers on the top of the cards. The tactical cards also will give you points, not as many as most of the monsters. But from 1 to 6, it seems like is
0 to 6, right?
0 to 6,
Yep.
technically. But yes, and so depending on what version you're playing, so the regular version, the dark is like movie monsters. So there's the Invisible Man, Dracula, Wolfman, the monster, right? Kaiju, which is a super cute Godzilla, Teen Wolf, Giant Ape, Hunk Vampire. Gillman, the Mummy, Mr. Hyde, Phantom of the Opera. And what I will say is all of these cards feel very thematic. And the things that cancel them out feel very thematic.
Definitely the things that cancel them out. And I mean, are there some stretches here and there? I guess.
Sure.
Like I think fire cancels the monster, which is kind of thematic, the whole torches thing, but then it also cancels like the Mummy, which is slightly less
he's
thematic.
flammable, though.
He is. And like sunlight
kills
Dracula and then the hunk vampire
Right.
because they needed a second vampire, right?
Yeah.
So some of it's like super on theme and some of it's on theme, but maybe a little like we needed to have a second one.
But it's
for this
enough to
card.
make sense, right?
Sure.
So
I
like
like
the
that they did
silver
that.
bullet kills the werewolf and
the
Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf, yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think that there are some really fun and interesting references in either set, right? Like there's some where I'm like, ooh, I really like the way that this one worked. But then it's kind of like in the other set, it's like, oh, but this is really clever, And so I don't know that I'd like one more than the other. I think the Deep might be a little more tactical.
Yeah, I agree.
so, yeah.
I would say that I prefer the Deep, but it's only because it's I can see it's kind of a back and forth because the Dark has more like creatures that I care about. The whole
sure.
Dracula Mummy stuff is just really cool. Frankenstein's monster, all that stuff. But I do find the abilities on the Deep cards tend to be a little deeper. Like half of them are like the same, kind of reskinned. I know. But then some of them have like really cool combo abilities that aren't in the Dark one. Like The siren, when you take the siren, you put it in someone else's hand, and then they have to play that card at the end of the game if they still have it. They can't discard it for the rest of the game. They can hand it to other people, though, if they get the chance to do that. The Nautilus Nemo combo we already mentioned is really cool. Like, that stuff's not in the dark version.
Right.
And so I like the deep one slightly more just because I find those slightly deeper mechanics interesting. But at the same time, like I said, I tend to care more about the universal monsters, as they call them, right? Than this mythology stuff.
Yeah, these are more mythological creatures, and these are definitely more
Some of the
like
combos are
monsters.
super hilarious, though, man. The last game that we played, I had this combo where I got the Kraken, so I was able to steal a card, and then my hand limit went up by 1, so 4. Then I was able to, on my next turn, take a card from the center that let me replay a card in my discard pile, so I replayed the Kraken, which let me steal a card and up my hand limit by 1. I couldn't even steal a card that turn. I just wanted to up my hand limit by 1 because that was hilarious.
And realistically, right, like, you were just doing that to have fun because there's no real... I mean, it's really hard early on, right? You start with no cards in your hand. So you're literally just taking the first card. So you are sort of at the mercy of the draw. Like, you might just have to draft something that doesn't do anything on your first turn.
Yeah.
But the thing is that's kind of for everybody. So it doesn't bother me. And again, the game plays in like 10, 15 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
So who cares? Anyways. But yeah, I like the artwork on this. It's very much in theme. Like, it's cutesy. It's not like it's blowing you away like Scythe artwork, right? This is very cutesy, fun kind of art.
It fits the game.
It fits
it's
the-
not like
I
I
would
love
not
the. It's
want
not like I
that
love
art.
the art or anything, but it fits the game perfectly, and I don't dislike it.
It fits the game, and I enjoy the art. I think that the rules are super concise. There was like a second where I was like, am I understanding this correctly? And then the second we like talked it over and started to play, it's like it all clicked.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was like one, maybe 2 questions, and it's like, no, it's pretty much like you do things in this order, and then everything else just sort of like falls into place.
I would say a slight clarification on a rule that it does clearly state it on the little rule card here, but I don't think it's going to be people's first instinct when they play the game, is that the siren says you cannot discard this card. During endgame scoring, you choose 2 cards to score with, and you discard the rest of your cards, meaning you have to play the siren if it's still in your hand at the end of the game.
Right.
I don't think that is people's first instinct when they read the siren card of you cannot discard this card. Okay, I can't discard it, but I don't have to play it. Well, no, because you have to discard every card you're not playing.
Sure.
I would just make sure you understand that
Yeah,
clarification.
no, I think that's important to point out. That was my first instinct. Was
Yeah.
it's like, oh, he's stuck with this card and has to play it.
Right.
But that was not clear to him when it was played on him.
Right.
So yes, fair point. But again, if you go through the rules,
Right.
I mean, it takes you an hour to read this, right? It's 2 sides of a card. It's
Look at you.
amazing. I just love games that can be explained this easily, and there's like no rules question.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we're not going to rate this because this is just a Kickstarter preview, but we did play this a lot. We played this multiple times because in an hour and a half. But we taught new people as they were kind of like walking in and we were getting ready to film. We played with our editor. We played with Bob. But he only played once. But we had played multiple times, right?
Yep.
So figured we would just comment. For me, this is like, if we're just going to go like yes, no, like recommendation, this is a very strong recommendation. I don't know what the price point is going to be on the Kickstarter. But I will say that it's probably not going to be that expensive. Cannot wait to see what kind of promo cards and stuff
All right.
that they
Instead
might.
of cards, it's all miniatures.
Oh,
Yeah.
and just and it's all like laser etched
Right,
on the
and you're holding.
but they've got like these flat backs, so you
Of
can't
course.
see
Of
what
course.
miniature you're holding.
No.
That's not happening. But yeah, I imagine the price point on this is going to be very reasonable. I like this designer anyways because I really like Growl. I like
Growl is a
Chaosmos.
fantastic game. We've reviewed it on our channel. Check it out if you want. It's a great social deduction party game.
Yeah,
So
it
I
has
was-
a great way of making something simple that becomes deep the more you play it.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
kind of feel like that.
Yeah,
There's a lot of.
exactly.
I really enjoy sort of the tactical. Like there's a little bit of pressure luck. There's a little bit of bluffing.
Yeah, there was a
And-
time where I knew he was going to cancel both my cards, and so when he had me give a card, I gave him back one of those cards. And I'm like, is he going to cancel out the card I just gave him?
Right.
knowing I have the other one.
Yes, I will. Yes, you will.
Yeah,
Absolutely will.
basically, Spencer had like an 11 and Dan had a 12,
Other
but
way,
Dan,
but yeah.
but Dan also had the card that canceled out the 11 and the 12. So it was, and that was the card.
And so
Spencer
I
gave
played-
him the canceling card.
Yeah.
And thinking,
No, I played him. I gave him the 11
oh, you gave him the 11,
because I
knowing
figured he had
knew
the
I had
cancel.
So you were hoping that he wouldn't cancel.
Well, even if he did, I'm like, well, then he's giving up all his points to
Right.
do that, and my other card is an 8.
Yeah.
And yes, I will. There's no question.
But again, though, right? Like, I enjoy games where it's sort of like you're playing your opponent as much as you are playing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cards in your hand.
And it's also a little bit of memory. You're like, oh, crap, what did he just pick up?
Oh, it's
no.
100% a memory
well,
game.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, that being said, right? We had started a game where like 2 rounds in, and then we had like an impromptu meeting, like all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, okay, guys, we got to just start over because it was like 15, 20
I don't
minutes
remember
later.
anything.
And it's like, I remember what I got, but I don't remember anything. And that's
And
only
I had-
because I can look at it.
And I had such a good combo. I was
I know
about to
you
get.
did. I know you did. And I felt bad doing it, but I didn't think anybody would remember,
No, it's fine.
But anyways, this is such a nice little like kind of warm up game. So yeah, guys, I guess whether you guys recommend or not, I'll just pass around.
I mean, yeah, I recommend it. I mean, again, it's not like it's going to be my favorite game in the world or anything, but if you like these simple kind of little, again, I keep wanting to say deduction, but it is more like memory deduction or something,
Yeah.
But with this card game, I love the everyone's starting with the 1 discard pile card, so you know a card that is at that point not in the game. You know, okay, well, I have the 10-11 cancel card, so if I can get the 10 or 11, I know it can't be canceled. But then Tim might steal my discard pile, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
Things have changed, right? And so I like that system a lot. Again, if you like these kind of similar games, it has a, when we first looked at it, we were like, oh, is this going to be like Love Letter, stuff like that, and it's not. If you like a game like Love Letter, I think you'll like a game like this, but they do not feel anything like each other. The memory aspect really lends itself to this game, and I think is a very fun style of the game. And we had some really fun like raising our hand moments of like, oh my
yeah.
god, that happened, right, and stuff. And so yeah, I wholeheartedly recommend it. We'll have a link to the Kickstarter when it is live, and I suggest you guys check it out if you like these kind of games.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Love Letter because when it started, we were like, is this going to be like Love Letter? And halfway through, I'm like, I like this better than I like Love Letter.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Because it doesn't have the randomness, I have no idea what you've got. No, I have chances to figure out what you've got.
Right.
So I can
Love
try to
Letter's
deduce
just
it.
guessing, to where
Yes.
this has that.
Especially, well, yeah, early on it is.
Right,
It
right.
is, yeah.
Well, yeah, you learn stuff as the game goes on, of course. But again, going to that point, that's where I think the memory aspect is what lifts this game up and makes it more interesting than similar games.
And I think this game would be good with kids. It
Yeah.
says it's 13 up, but I think my 10-year-old would have no problem playing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I would almost just play the.
Yeah, I would start with that one.
I would start with this one and see how she grasps it, right? Because I
Yeah,
feel the same
yeah.
way with like Mallory, right? Like my 10-year-old would be like, maybe she would, she would glom onto the combos and stuff. But I mean, yeah, this is a very family-friendly game. This is a game where it's like, oh, we're waiting for one more player
Oh,
to
yeah.
show up.
Just
You
play
could
it.
play off to the side while your big game is set up.
It doesn't
You
take
can play a
it's
couple
not a big
times
football
off to the
side. So yes, I will recommend this game absolutely.
Yeah, right on. So that's like 3 recommends. I don't know if we could come off any stronger for an upcoming Kickstarter, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
pretty good.
So anyways, this has been Monsters and the Things That Destroy Them. And for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
I've been Spencer.
That was Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.